My dream was to fly in the Blue Angels. They fly the best, most precise aviation in the world. But I grew up with this. I had people in my life telling me there's no way you'll ever fly an airplane. You go fly a kite, but you'll never fly an airplane. I actually had a football coach tell me, dude, you could never fly a kite. You have ADD, overactive imagination. You're a terrible student. Good athlete, but terrible student. I was hearing this from teachers, coaches, friends, and even very close family members saying, you cannot do your dream. Your dream is too good for you. You're not good enough for it. Has it ever sounded slightly familiar to anybody? That's their problem, not yours. I joined the Navy. They put me in the ranks of an enlisted aircraft mechanic. So I worked my way up from E1, the lowest rank in the military, and I worked my tail off. Now, I applied 6 different times to become a Navy pilot. Okay, so the military has these programs where you go from being an enlisted guy, right, a worker bee, to becoming an officer, which is a leader, sometimes a middle manager type of thing. But here's a couple things. You had to have a college education. You had to be selected for the program, so on and so forth. I could barely graduate high school. I was the worst student you've ever seen. Again, I had ADD. I just didn't study. I was a hard worker, but I couldn't get it. It was like the words would fall off the page. They started talking about math and history, and I was just like, it was over my head. So when I joined the Navy, I was awesome with tools. I was a great mechanic. And I got selected for Sailor of the Month and all this kind of stuff. I put my application in 6 different times. The first time I applied, they said, no way. Now, that could be a heartbreaker because the Navy, remember this, I grew up listening to teachers, coaches, friends, close family members saying, never going to happen. Then the Navy says no. So I put in a second application. That time they said, nah, not going to happen. The third time, the fourth time, the 5th application, I had one more shot. One shot. My division officer, Lieutenant Jamie Counter, said, JT, this is it. You got this. This is the dam buster. This is the one where you hit this one, that dam collapses, and your potential will flood that dream of becoming a Navy pilot. I got your back. I trust this. I believe in you. Put the application in. I said, I don't believe, man. And I was hurting. I was dying. I was like, I can't take one more rejection. This sucks. 6 times. How many more times? And that was my last shot because my career was coming to an end. And they said, forget it. I don't know if you've ever had an example where you thought you were at the end of your rope. A time in your life when you said, I got nothing else. I hit the end of the runway. We didn't make it. That's how that felt. It felt like the last breath of air was sucked out of the room. I knew I had to go a different route. 6 different ways, 6 different applications, 6 different times, same result. But there was something that said, there's a back door. There's a way to do this. It's going to have to be unconventional. You're going to have to think different. You can't do what everybody else does if you want to get the same results everybody else is getting. Sometimes you got to do something different because you're unique. You're a different person than the guy that's going to come in here and sit in this room tomorrow, right? Because the guy or the woman that's sitting in the room tomorrow wasn't here. They didn't have the same level of commitment. They didn't have the same go-get 'em. They didn't have the same commitment to themselves to invest their time, their money, and their efforts to become great at what they do. No offense, but it's just the key. And so I had to take the back door approach. I did whatever it took. I worked as a deep fry guy. I was a dishwasher. In another restaurant, I worked 7 days a week, 2 jobs. Never had time off. Not the way to roll. I worked construction in South Central Los Angeles, gang territory. Anyway, my granddad said, listen, I believe in you. I know you can do this. And to make it possible, you go back to college, you make this work, and I'll help you out. So I went to a community college, got my grades up. Amazing. I got like a 3.8 one time, and I thought it was a joke. Long and short of it is, I applied, and I got into the University of Colorado at Boulder. This may have been the United States Naval Academy. I mean, like for me to get into college, let alone a major university like this, was huge. You make sense? I walk into the ROTC department and I said, I'm here to become a leader and an officer and I'd love to fly airplanes. They said, sorry, we don't have any scholarships, but you can apply in the spring. 4 years of hard work. I graduated #1 in my class as the #1 cadet in ROTC, Reserve Officer Training Course, where they train college kids how to become officers. Graduated #1. And on September 7th, 2001, I accomplished my mission, got my wings of gold. If you have a major dream in your business, sometimes you're going to have to take the backdoor approach. Sometimes you're going to have to kick the back door in. Sometimes you're just going to have to be arrogant about it and say, I'm not taking no for an answer, damn it. We're going to do this. even if it's on my terms. I'll dig ditches if I have to, but I'm not letting this one go.